What a story here. So, you know, these actors and actresses, they've got their little brands they got to protect. They want to be on the side of good things and against bad things. But of course, you know, this is a very difficult situation. People feel a lot of ways. And we're talking about, you know, not just some like bullshit, not to totally dismiss it, but like diversity play or whatever. We're talking about life, death, war, peace, possible World War III, hostages who are being held, etc. And it has gotten very messy. So we have two effectively rival letters being signed on to by Hollywood stars. This first one is, I mean, it's almost just, it's very confused. And it's, in my opinion, quite laughable. Let's put this up on the screen. Long list of Hollywood stars and executives signed on to this letter thanking President Joe Biden for his leadership and asking to keep the focus on the hostages in Gaza. Thank you for your unshakable moral conviction, leadership, and support for the Jewish people who have been terrorized by Hamas since the group's founding over 35 years ago, and for the Palestinians who have also been terrorized, oppressed, and victimized by Hamas for the last 17 years that the group has been governing Gaza. We urge everyone to not rest until all hostages are released. So basically, we can put this up on the screen, the list of some of the stars here. We've got, you know, highlighter Jordan Peele, Olivia Wilde, John Hamm, John Watts, Dean Cain. I don't know who most of these people are, but that's not because they're nobodies. I just don't know who anybody is.
That was the one so far.
Anyway, so this is one list that's being put out. Aaron Sorkin is on this one as well. And the reason I call it confused is like, why do you need to sign a letter that's just like, good job, Joe Biden. Way to go, person with the most powerful, you know, position in the entire world. Like, we stand with you. But they have to throw in this hostage piece to try to act like they're like rebellious and standing up to power when really you're just completely co-signing what the American government is already doing.
I was gonna say, it's like, why does he need a letter from you to be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep working to get those hostages out? It's just like, shut up. Like, keep your, you know, if you wanna make a dumbass post on Instagram, like, go for it. Although, good luck with that, considering with Jamie Lee Curtis and all these other people. But nobody asked for you. Nobody cares, you know, what you think. This entire thing, like you said, it's confused because this is the policy of the government. No hostage can be left. Well, yeah, the Secretary of State has said it. So is the president. It'd be different if the president was like, you know what, you know, we're giving up or something like that. But like, okay, fine. Then you can quote unquote speak out. But like, what does that even mean? Yeah. It's also just so banal. We all want the same thing. Freedom for Israelis and Palestinians to live side by side in peace. It's like, okay, thanks. You know, thank you, Bradley Cooper and Courtney Cox or Chris Rock. Yeah, I'm most surprised that Gal Gadot is the one who signed on to this, because she's just straight up Israeli. And so if she comes out and is like totally supportive of Israel, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. She's from the country. So I just don't get it. I don't understand the point of this thing. She also did, I believe, was behind the Imagine song. Do you remember that? Whenever they all sang Imagine during the pandemic. Really? So this is not the first foray for Miss Godot.
So producer Griffin flagged that at least one of the people on this letter is now coming out and saying, like, no, wait, I didn't, actually, my agent put me on this and I didn't actually want to sign on to this. I wanted to be on the other letter, which, let's put this up on the screen. The other letter has a little more clarity of content here. Artists calling for ceasefire now. Obviously, this is in direct opposition to what the Biden administration is pushing for. They say we come together as artists and advocates, most importantly as human beings witnessing the devastating loss of lives and unfolding horrors in Israel and Palestine. We ask that as President of the U.S., you and the U.S. Congress call for an immediate de-escalation and ceasefire in Gaza and Israel before another life is lost. More than 5,000 people have been killed in the last week and a half, a number any person of conscience knows is catastrophic. We believe all life is sacred, no matter faith or ethnicity, and we condemn the killing of Palestinian and Israeli citizens. We urge your administration, Congress, all world leaders to honor all of the lives in the Holy Land and call for and facilitate a ceasefire without delay and end to the bombing of Gaza and the safe release of hostages. So this one, you know, an actual challenge to what the Biden administration is calling for, and, you know, Hollywood very much at war over how to approach this issue. You also have the Writers Guild coming under fire because they didn't say anything, which, to be honest with you, you know, when you've got a union with a lot of members with different backgrounds and different views on this, not saying anything kind of seems to me like not the worst thing in the world. Like just to,
it's the correct thing to do.
Stay out of it.
Yes.
If you don't have a unity of opinion among your membership, that seems entirely appropriate to me. I mean, obviously, I would love for them to call for ceasefire. I'd love for them to come down on the side of Palestinian humanity. But it's interesting to me that they're coming out of under significant fire from their membership just for being like, we're going to keep quiet.
Yeah, I've seen this from the universities too. People are like, why has Harvard University not denounced the attack? I'm like, who gives a shit? It's like, the issue though is that Harvard boxed itself into a corner where anytime the social justice cause du jour was happening, they're like, oh, we unequivocally stand with Black Lives Matter or trans whatever, and like, abortion, Roe versus Wade, or DACA, or immigrant, all these other things. I'm like, well, you guys are the ones who dug your own grave. I'm like, you want to weigh in every single time there's something going on, then yeah, people are going to call you out when you don't say anything. But I'm very much exactly of the same opinion of yours, is if you have an organization like the WGA, where they're obvious, I mean, many of the people who just signed both of these letters are members, how could you unequivocally come out and have a single position? Then that's just the narcissism of leadership. It's not a true union. And this is one of the, in my opinion, big missteps that a lot of unions made in the 80s and 90s, is explicitly aligning themselves with the machine art of the Democratic Party, while not majority, but some of its people, coalition and others, did not vote in the similar direction. It caused like a big split. And I think one of the benefits to a guy like Sean Fain, who has been a little political with Biden and all of that, but has also been willing to call him out, is that even the people who are in his union, who support Trump, like for example, I don't think they could ever say for a second that the man would never put them first over loyalty to the Democratic Party. That's what you have to do. So anyway, in some ways, I don't have some sympathy, because I'd have to go back and check to see what WGAO said about the last, BLM or whatever. I'm sure they probably put out some BS statement. So in some ways, it's like, this is why, like, you don't have to weigh in on everything, and if you do, then when something becomes socially inconvenient and you don't have 100% of people behind you, and then you say nothing, people are going to call you out. So I'm a bit conflicted. I agree with the policy you laid out, but I think you should be consistent.
I guess I would just say that it obviously matters a lot more what the President of the United States, what the people with power in the House and the Senate, and the people who are funding super PACs and who are, really influential in terms of our public policy. Like, it matters a lot more what they are saying than like whatever the Writers Guild might put out, whatever Sarah Silverman thinks about the matter, or Harvard, or like, some dumb kids marching on some college campus. And it can be very easy when we see things we disagree with coming from groups that maybe we have antipathy for to fixate on those things. But I would just keep our eyes on the prize of the people who actually have power and not even what they're saying, what they're doing. That's where all the real action is.
I think it comes to a powerlessness. Like, nothing that we say here on the show is going to impact U.S. policy. And that's actually a very difficult thing to accept for a lot of people. And now imagine you're a billionaire. Now imagine you're an actor. What you can control, if you're a billionaire donor to Harvard, is, nobody at the White House is going to care what you think. Although they'll care more what you think than
if you're a
somebody
billionaire,
else.
they might care.
Well, ish, but probably not in a case like this. Mm-hmm. But what you can control is Harvard University, who you donate $10 million a year
Yeah,
to.
that's
You
true.
can control, if you're a student in particular, and I understand being a student, it's like you want to be righteous and you want to have an impact, but like nobody cares what you think. So what do? You march in, or you project some dumbass statement onto a wall, and you like embroil the institution in conflict because you're trying to be heard. You're trying to have agency. Again, I understand where that comes from, but that is why I think people get engaged in these fights. It's because 99.9% of us will never have any impact on what Tony Blinken, Jake Sullivan, or President Biden have to say. However, you can have an impact and a more immediate like fight in the WGA, in a letter, or on campus, something like that. It's like a way of acting out. And I do understand it. I do also mostly think it's pointless. So anyway, I'm glad that you said that.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.